how to be better than your competition, right? How to be beta than your competition. Finding beta testers is truly the mother of all validation, right? The truth is, though, most course creators are not going to beta test because it's a lot of work and it takes time, right? It isn't crucial, it isn't critical for success, if you already know for sure who your perfect customer is, right? If you know what their number one questions are, if you know the answers to them, if you know your course topic is proven, has the content that you can recreate and improve, if you've established proof of concept, if you have all of that, you have enough to proceed, right? But if you really want to make sure that you're doing this right and you're a little uncertain and you're okay with moving a little bit slower so that you are 100% sure about everything, about how to teach the content, about what to include, about what not to include, and you really want focused feedback from people going through your actual course, then you're going to love a beta test. So there's no better way to get direct feedback about your course, as to what's confusing, what needs additional clarity, what's profound to some people. The list goes on and on and on. So you can also get testimonial screenshots that you can use everywhere in your marketing from beta testing. When you have a lot of success stories, making additional sales is much easier, right? Having a core group of successful students already inside your private group is amazing. Most people love the idea of beta testing, but don't actually do it, right? I personally don't beta test with every single one of my courses because I've gotten to the point where I'm creating content for an audience that I know really well, right? I know what their pains are, I know what their concerns are, I know what their desires are, and I'm very, very certain when it comes to creating new courses that they're going to do well, right? Back in the day, I didn't feel that way though. So I beta tested when I was brand new, right? And I'm glad I did. The ultimate validation of your expertise and your know-how and your ability to create a course is teaching at least one person, right, preferably multiple, who was before meeting you, right, prior to your course, a complete beginner, to make money, right, to find love or to get healthy, right? And obviously, you're not going to be working with everyone as intensely, in a one-on-one way as, you will with your beta students. Once your course starts to scale into the, tens of people, hundreds of people, or even thousands of people. But you can start to help more and more people more efficiently via live webinars and group calls and things like that. And in most experiences, the beta testers get to go through your program, right? Or a cheat sheet or a skeleton of your course, or maybe a written outline or a blueprint for your course if it's not completely finished yet, either for free or for 50% off in exchange for their candid feedback, right? Their insights, their details about their results or testimonials. Because you don't want to come out with a program that you're not, fairly, if not very certain, is going to get your students' results. And so beta testing is going to help you decide whether or not your course includes enough to get somebody who's a beginner from A to Z, right? But also a minimum viable product, so it's not, equipped with a bunch of extra fluff. And remember, you can make a significant amount of money simply via consulting with interested parties, with targeted people that you're adding, from relevant Facebook groups that you're getting in contact with, from your YouTube videos that are giving you their emails for cheat sheets and things like that. But of course, the end goal, like we've talked about multiple times, is creating a fully automated digital product, a digital course, an ecosystem so that you can help people without it directly taking your time, so you can have ultimate financial and time freedom, right? I want to make sure that you understand, by getting the ultimate proof of concept, right, where people are paying you, multiple people, for your knowledge, you can really get the ultimate confidence to go full force with your course creation with or without beta testing, right? So my advice to you is, if you want the absolute premier confidence that your course is going to work, then go through the entire process, build your course, don't release it to the public yet, let 3 brand new people join for 50% off or even for free. Let them go through and give you honest feedback, right? Let them try to implement it, see if they get results. Most people are not going to want to do things that slowly. I don't personally do things that slowly now. So my advice is, depending on whether or not you want the ultimate confidence or you want very, very good confidence via proof of concept, the choice is yours, right? Charge people $50 an hour, $100 an hour to help them. Because when you get real money in exchange for your knowledge, right, consultations, it really breaks down that important barrier that we discussed, right? And those small moments, they're such a massive achievement, right? When you get paid for an idea or a neuron in your brain, right? Knowledge in your brain, you get paid directly for that. It's a very, very important, massive achievement. And so few people on earth have ever made a single dollar from a digital product or information in their brain. Like literally less than 0.0000001% of people in the history of the earth have done that. And obviously that's because computers haven't been around that long, but still it's a very significant milestone for you, both mentally and financially. It shouldn't be taken lightly. I'll never forget the first person who believed in me enough to pay for information in my brain. His name was Joe. He was from Springfield, Oregon. He was the first person to believe in me. He bought my course on May 17th, 2017. And yes, I remember the exact date, right? I'll always love you, Joe. If you're watching right now, shout out to you. And I come across a lot of people who try to achieve their dreams, right, as they are right now, without changing their habits, without changing their values. They struggle because the person they are right now, right, isn't the same person who's going to achieve those dreams. Who I am now is not who I was when I was an accountant sitting in my cubicle, right? Achieving your dream, how it actually goes in reality, and like not in the fantasy world, but in reality is you have a dream, right, in your mind, but you haven't really created it as a tangible thing, right? It's just a dream. Then you define what that dream is, right? Then you decide you're going to pursue that dream, and then you design the dream, and then you take daily actions, right? And then you deliver the dream, and then the dream becomes real, right? So you dream, then you define, then you decide, then you design, then you take daily actions, and then you deliver. But what society's paradigm is that 90% of businesses fail, right? Which means that achieving your dreams and being successful is overwhelmingly against you, according to society, right? It's nearly impossible. Only 10% of people, if not less, are able to create a successful business, right? Even just a successful business, not, becoming a millionaire is out of reach to society, right? The only way you can do that is by climbing the corporate ladder, right? Saving for retirement. And then when you're 50, 60 years old, hopefully all the compound interest of, maxing out your 401k has kind of paid you back in troves. And now you're able to be a millionaire, at least on paper, but you're not even able to pull that money out until you're 65, right? That's what society tells us. And guess what society needs more of to function, right? What does society need more of to function and to maintain the infrastructure, right? Society that's run by, the oligarchs and like the very rich families and people who are, spending pretty unimaginable money on lobbying, legislation, and politicians. What does society as a whole need more of? It needs more workers, right? And remember, you want to think beyond what people say, what I say, what society says, right? What society tells you that is normal, the paradigm that society kind of raises children and people to think that they should become these 9-to-5 workers, because that's what society needs more of, right? You want to think about motivation. If you understand the motivation of why someone says something, right, it's so much more illustrative than what the person is actually saying at times. And the ultra rich, who most heavily control society, constantly need more employees. This is something that I suffer with every day, right? I have a brilliant employee. His name is Christian. He'll probably eventually watch this actual, what I'm saying right now. So what's up, Christian? I love you. But and he was such an amazing employee when he actually concentrates on my stuff. No one was more productive than him. But I had this struggle where it was so hard for me to not tell him that what he should focus on is building his own course, right? Because he'll never make as much money working for me or working for anyone than he would creating his own digital product and his own movement, right? And helping people himself. And so, I couldn't lie to him. So I told him straight up, Christian, you shouldn't be wasting your talents working for me or working for anyone. And that directly damaged my business, right? It directly crippled my business and, my technological infrastructure. I had to find other people to try to replace him, right? He was very, very intelligent at what he did. But I just can't lie to people, right? I can't lie to my employees. I can't lie to anyone, right? I always tell people what they should be focusing their time on. Right? But the problem is the ultra rich constantly need more employees and more staff to make them richer, right? Which is why in society, we've been raised to stay in line, to maintain the status quo, right? And while doing that, the rich get richer kind of on the backs of all of these, workers' hard work. But the good thing is this, right? If you're here right now and you're reading this, you've woken up from, the quote unquote matrix, right? Or you've begun to, and you understand whatever you believe now with enough consistent action can become real, right? As human beings in the game of life, we have the ability to think, to interact, to participate, to experiment, and determine our own odds. The status quo is for other people to uphold, right? That's how I believe now. You are different, and we can't change everyone. I can't change everyone. You can't change everyone, but we can make a significant difference, right? You are different. You exist outside convention. You wouldn't be here if you were anything else, right? You question everything, and the only thing that matters is what you believe is true, right? Because whatever you believe can become true with enough consistent action. And if you believe that you're capable, if you believe you can achieve your dreams, if you believe you can start a successful business, if you believe that you can make money and establish proof of concept and build a world-class course, you can, right? And it is possible. But if you don't believe it, then it's not possible. Because once you change your beliefs, you take action in accordance with those beliefs. And when you take action in accordance with those beliefs, you get results. And when you get results, it solidifies those initial beliefs, which creates an invincible upward spiral of confidence and success and feedback, right? And so that, guys, is chapter 3. Let's go over the summary really quick. So we talked about the top 3 questions your customers have and how to understand how to take your customers from their current state to their desired state. We talked about how the mental obstacles your customers face and how to overcome them. We talked about the only 4 reasons people buy courses, which are organization of information, one-on-one help, community, and accountability. We talked about the most common reason people buy courses, why people will buy courses from you specifically, right? Which is genuinity. People need to feel you're genuine, that they can trust you, that they can relate to your story, right? And those are going to be the biggest reasons that people purchase from you. People get this wrong every day. They think it's the best tactics, but it has nothing to do with it, right? We talked about how to find your ideal customers and how to validate your course idea through proof of concept, right? And what is proof of concept? Getting 3 paid people to pay you money for knowledge in your brain in the form of consultations, done-for-you solutions, right? Group coaching, masterminds, you name it. And then we talked about the idea of a minimum viable product and that less is often more. So the chapter 3 checklist: have you found the top 3 questions beginners have about your course topic? What are the top 3 obstacles that your customers think are stopping them from achieving their desired situation, right? You got to know these front to back, and then everything that you start to say, right? All of your content, everything that you create is about shattering these objections even preemptively before your customers might even know they have them, right? Do you understand the only 4 reasons people buy a course, and have you integrated that into your marketing materials and how you present yourself? Do you understand the importance of genuinity and how you present yourself truthfully with regard to making course sales? Have you validated your course idea through proof of concept by getting at least 3 people to pay for a consultation, done-for-you solution, mastermind, or group coaching related to your course topic? And do you understand the concept of a minimum viable product and how to apply it mentally to creating your consultations, to creating your done-for-you solutions, and ultimately to creating your digital course? So that is chapter 3, guys. Very exciting. I hope you guys are understanding how feasible this is, how possible this is for you guys to do if you just put the work in daily, consistently, and just implement the blueprint as countless others have to create your course movement and to go on to impact thousands of people and completely change their lives. So I hope you guys enjoyed chapter 3, guys, and we'll see you inside chapter 4.